Now, when I was a planner, when I was a corporate planner, one of the things I'll often do is I would love to compare my salary to what other people are making. I often like to know what the average was and where I stood because this was helpful if I ever wanted to go up and ask for, an increase in my salary. I was curious about that. So one of the things I did for you today is I wanted to look at what the average wedding planner in each of these 10 major cities made so that you can see what it compares to. Now, this is a good thing to know and a good thing to have, especially if you started your business and you're thinking, I'm doing the business because I want to make more money. Are you at that point? How do you compare? Or do you just need to move and find a different city to make more money in? So we're going to find out today. Hi, I'm Jody Ann Roll, founder of the Event Certificates and EventPlanningTemplates.com, and I work with wedding planners when they're ready to find more leads for their wedding business. If you're struggling to get leads, if you're struggling to get found on Google, definitely reach out, www.eventcertificate.com. Now, I'll be honest, today's video is a little bit more of a fun one. I'm not giving you any marketing tips or strategies, really. I'm just looking at what people are making because it's something I was curious about. It's something I know a ton of other people are curious about, and I wanted to show you how it compares city to city. Now, I'm looking at 9 major US cities as well as 1 Canadian city because, as you guys know, I'm in Toronto, Canada, and I had to include Toronto, right? And I'm also going to tell you in the end how my salary compared to that Toronto average. Now, as I said, this is an average. So one of the things I've noticed as I went through the list is that some of the averages were low in different cities. And I know in specific cities, like for example, one of the cities I looked at was New York. And I know for a fact that New York has some higher averages because I've known people who worked as an event planner in New York, and I know they were making significantly more than what the average was. So keep that in mind. These averages are just that. There will be people that will be making much more than the average, and some people who might even be making less. And one of the things I do know is that some companies, their pay structure is a little bit different. So they may pay you a salary, but then you also get a bonus based on maybe if you bring in a client versus if the company brought in the client, or if you work with a certain client to get them to have a certain amount of budget at the end of the event, you might get a commission, and that might not necessarily be reflected. So just keep that in mind. So the first city we want to look at is New York City. And New York City actually had one of the higher averages out of all the ones listed in this. And this is no surprise. New York is a metropolis. So their average for the average wedding planner, they made $57,187. As I said, I actually know someone in New York who works as an event planner, and I know she makes 6 figures. She doesn't own her own business. She actually works in a company. So this average is just that. The second one is Los Angeles, California. Now, this one was lower than I expected, to be honest. I thought this would have been more on the level of New York, more like exact or higher. So LA was $54,800 is what the average wedding planner made. The other one on the list was Chicago, Illinois. Chicago, their average wedding planner makes $53,723. Did that number surprise you? I'm going to be honest, that one actually surprised me. I thought Chicago would have been a little lower. I don't know why. I just made that assumption. The other one is Houston, Texas, which is number 4. And Houston, their average wedding planner was making $50,695. Number 5 is Phoenix, Arizona. Come on down, Phoenix. I don't know if I'll have a lot of channel viewers from Phoenix, but the average there was $50,887. Next one was Philadelphia. Now, Philadelphia had $52,103 as their average salary for their wedding planner. Now, number 7 was actually the lowest on the list. This was the lowest of the 10 cities, and their average in Jacksonville, Florida was $47,540. Now, did that surprise you? It didn't surprise me, but I do know that certain things are lower in Florida, such as prices for things, which I thought was great, but I guess then it also works on the salary end. The number It was Columbus, Ohio. So Columbus, Ohio, the average wedding planner was making $49,771. That's not as low as I thought it would have been. It's a little bit higher than Florida, but not horrible. Then I had to throw in the city that had most of my clients, and that was Atlanta, Georgia. In Atlanta, the average wedding planner was making $52,128. Now, again, I have to say this because I started when I said New York, and that remember, the average is just that. There are people making much more than that. I know people who are making significantly more than that running their own event planning, wedding planning businesses in Atlanta. Now, Toronto, I had to throw in the list. So Toronto, as I said, I had to include because I'm in Toronto. I worked as a corporate event planner for many, many years in Toronto. So Toronto, the average was $45,583. Now, here's the thing though. Most of the other ones I listed are in American dollars. The Toronto one was in Canadian dollars, which Canadian dollars currently is lower than American. So if you convert it, it's probably even lower. And I was surprised by that. The reason I was surprised by that is that when I worked as an event planner, I didn't make much more than that. So I was very surprised at that average. I thought it would have been a bit higher. Now, I don't know what city you're in. Maybe you're in one of these cities, maybe not. But if you are, I actually want you to comment and tell me if my numbers were correct. Now, I got these numbers from a ton of research. I went to Indeed. I went to AZP. I did a lot of the pay scale. I looked at a ton of them to make sure that the numbers were comparable or within the same range. So I don't know if the data they're getting from people are incorrect. Maybe some people are incorrectly reporting their salaries or, they're lying on surveys, but these were the numbers that came back. If you're in any of these cities and you agree, comment and be like, yeah, that's actually correct. If you don't agree, I also want to hear comment and say, no way, it's much be higher, right? But as I said, keep in mind again that some people are significantly above the average and some people are below. So even though, for example, in New York, I know someone who is making over 6 figures working in a company as an event planner, there could be someone who's making less than the average, which is $57,000. So keep that in mind as well. Now, thank you so much for watching. As I said, this video was meant to be something fun and something light this week before I go back to my regular marketing tips. If you have any questions, drop them below the video and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and see you next week.